What can you create with a hockey stick, hula hoop, life preserver, pool noodle, slinky, boxing glove, cans, and a bucket of paint? You can create a whole lot. We're about to create the Maker Fun Factory.
Welcome to Decorating Places. We're going to turn this sanctuary into a fantastically brilliant Maker Fun Factory. The amazing Bruce Berry has drawn up the plans, and he'll teach us some tips and tricks along the way. Bruce has been an artist his whole life. He started out when he was just a little tot, watching his dad draw scenes for Disney. Bruce is the founder of Wacky World Studios and creates incredible environments around the world. We're lucky enough to have him here helping us create Maker Fun Factory. Our first step is to protect the church floor while we do our set construction. That starts with laying out plastic sheeting and taping all the pieces down to protect the carpet from any spills. We're also setting up workstations to keep our supplies organized. Bruce is starting us off by creating this out-of-this-world rocket.
Okay, we're building our rocket ship. I put a bunch of parts and pieces together. And just so you see what it looks like before you start putting it together, we have this wonderful water jug. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some lights in here so it gives it movement and lighting in there. And then what I'm thinking of doing is we're gonna take this and put that on top like that. Then I'm thinking is when we're gonna take a can and then we're gonna put the can on top. And then I'm gonna go with a smaller can and we're gonna put that on top. And then I have a juice drink box here somewheres, and that's going to be a top of a rocket. And when we get this all duct taped up and painted, this is going to be one cool rocket.
As you're watching the video, you can check online for more details at group.com/VBS tools.
Okay, now what we're going to do to add those lights in our water jug, we're going to drill an 1.5 inch hole in the bottom so our plug will go through. We're going to run everything out the bottom. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have my hot glue gun here, right here, and we're going to use duct tape, but I just want to use the glue so it sets up fast enough for me just to see where I have everything. Then I'll use the duct tape and that'll make it really secure. Prime it, paint it, we got a rocket.
Next, we're going to start on this whimsical steam whistle.
You're asking how we are going to make a fun factory whistle? Well, you know what, I'm gonna tell you. We have 2.5 quart plastic things here. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn them upside down like this. We're gonna do a cardboard cone up on top. We have our carpet tube right here. That's gonna be the stand for our whistle. Once we get this all duct taped up and painted, we're gonna put a little fog in there. It's gonna be a pretty cool, fun, factory, fantastic whistle.
Our volunteers are getting our foam ready by peeling off the outer layers. Some foam comes with a peelable layer of foil or plastic that should be removed before painting or hot knifing. Of course, you have to have a place to draw all your creative plans. How about a drawing board in your Maker Fun Factory?
So we've cut our 2-inch foam, a little bit oversized of our tabletop that we have. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the wood grain. You want it kind of toony looking. So you see where I have the blade going in at a 45, like this. Now I'm gonna come back the other side of my line on a 45. And do this. Now we don't want it perfectly straight because we do want to keep that wackiness going on. You see what I'm doing? Thank you. Again, 45-degree angle all the way down. I'm probably going about 3/4 of an inch deep into the foam. Doesn't matter really how deep you go, just as long as you don't go through it. And that's how we get our grooves in our wood.
Next, Bruce is going to show us how to create wood grain on our drawing board.
I have my blade here and my glove because this does get a little hot. And I'm heating it up and I'm using the edge of my hot knife here. You can see I'm just going in there very lightly. I'm getting the blade hot, and then I'll take my finger off the trigger because I don't want it to get so hot that it burns through to the foam. And what I'm creating here is my wood grain.
These hot knives are so easy to use. It's so much easier to cut foam and no mess. You can pick yours up at group.com. Look at these gigantic gears. How do you make those, Bruce?
So we have a 5-gallon bucket here, and what we're going to do is we're going to start by just taking our bucket and our marker on our 2-inch foam and tracing out our bucket. And what you're going to do is you're going to find somewhere in the center, doesn't have to be perfect, and then we have our piece of string here, and we have our nail. And you're going to put that right in the center of your piece of string. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take of how far our gear can be, which that looks about it right there. And what I'm going to do is use this as my line. Now, how simple is this? What I did is I took a little piece of scrap cardboard that we had and a marker, and I cut out the gear for it. So what I'm doing is just placing the gear around our circle. And again, guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the fun part about this fun factory, is what I'm doing is I'm leaving about 1/4 of an inch in between the gaps, and I'm just doing this all the way around. And you can see already it's starting to look like a gear.
Next, we're going to start on our brick walls.
So what we're going to do is we're going to create our brick wall on each side of our stage set. So that's what we're going to be painting now.
You can find all the paint colors online at group.com/VBS tools. But you don't have to worry about matching our paint colors or brand exactly. Be creative. Make sure to use flat latex paint because it dries faster and covers more evenly.
So what we're going to be doing here, guys, is instead of cutting out the brick and doing it individually, we're going to do a mass paint job on it. Then we're going to go back with a hot knife and cut it. So what we're going to do is, this is called a pancake method. What you're going to do is just kind of take and pour a big pancake. And then what I'll usually do is just take my roller, go around the top of the edge, get it out of that lip there, get it off the front of the can. And that's called pancake. That way you're not having to use a paint tray. And then what you want to do is you just want to kind of spread that out. Make sure you have your tarps down. And don't try to cover it in one pass. Give it a light coat. And if you feel that you need some more paint, don't be afraid to throw it on there. All right, we got a gear. So we laid out our gear, we did our hot knife and we cut it out, which looks awesome. But what we want to do is go the extra mile and add some dimensions. So we have this 1/2-inch foam, and which I had them do is just circle the 5-gallon pail, so that gives it a little dimension. Then what we did is we used a soup can, traced it out of the 2-inch foam. What we do is now we have these nuts and bolts. Okay, so what you're going to do is put your glove on. Now we've cut out our soup can foam out of our 2-inch foam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're just going to cut it in half. And what we're doing is we're creating these nuts and bolts. And then we have another hot knife here, and this one has the V groove, which is pretty cool. And what I'm going to do is, and again, it doesn't have to be directly in the middle. And it's going to look like a big flat pan head screw right there. We're going to add it to our piece.
Now we're going to get started on a pretty impressive power outlet.
You know what? You have a fun factory. What do you need? You need power for the fun factory. So what we're doing is we took this piece of scrap foam right here. It's 3 foot by 4 foot that came off a piece of scrap. And what we're going to do is we are going to make an electrical outlet. So you can see the beginnings of it. So this is our 2-inch foam. This is our 1/2-inch foam, which is going to be our cover plate. We're going to add a couple of screws to this thing where it looks like it's mounted to the wall. Then we're going to build this great big plug. You know, of course, here at Group, we want to go the extra mile. So what I did is I took the hot knife and I went around at a 45-degree angle and softened up those edges. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on our wall outlet. Put 4 screws on the side. We're going to have a cool looking outlet for our fun factory. Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to create our brick for our faux wall. So I'm pretty excited about that. So it's our 1/2-inch foam that we pre-painted, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our yardstick, and let's say one set of blocks are going to be 5 inches. See how I'm just taking that yardstick and just running it all the way down. And we're going to come back, make another line, and let's say we want them to be 7 inches. Let's do 7 inches. And again, it doesn't matter the width of your brick. Don't worry about it. We're just going to place this brick here and there and give it the illusion of a brick wall.
Bruce is using the same technique of measuring with the ruler for cutting the foam with a hot knife.
And you lay your hot knife right on the edge there. Turn your hot knife on. Make sure someone is holding your piece of foam. Keep it right on that edge. Try to keep it as straight as you can. And then you don't have to cut the whole thing. Okay, now that we have some of our brick cut, so man, that's long brick. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take and cut. Doesn't have to be perfect. So that's what we're looking for. It's just pieces like that. And then we're gonna stagger them, and then we got a faux brick wall.
Bruce nailed some foam pieces together to make a power outlet plug. Now he's going to show us how to make it look even more authentic.
So what we did is we went around it with our flat hot knife blade and trimmed off the edges. Now what we're doing is I want you to go back. This is just a simple sanding block. And then what I want you to do is go back and just lightly sand. Now if you have a real gummed up area that you don't like at all, you can go back and forth, because that'll chew up the foam a lot quicker. So you can go back and forth. But here's the secret. What you want to do to really smooth it out on the foam, go one direction. One direction's only. And that's what we want to do.
This is cool. Bruce is going to put a fantastic factory fan right in our brick wall.
We're having fun at the Maker Fun Factory. That's what I'm talking about here. We are adding our warehouse fan. Pretty cool. So what we've done is we've taken our 2-inch piece of foam that we've already painted, but we flipped it over. So what we're gonna do is we took this old box fan right here, and it doesn't matter where you put it, depending on the height of your ceiling or your foam. Just make sure that it's kind of centered. So we'll take a yardstick or a measuring tape and just make sure that it's centered this way. But again, it doesn't matter how high. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take and we're gonna trace this out. Once we trace that out, what I'm gonna have you guys do is from that trace line, come in 2 inches and make your mark all the way around, and that's what we're gonna cut out.
After cutting out our hole for the fan, Bruce is using 6-inch nails to attach a shelf for the fan to sit on.
Okay, so what we're doing is we have our brick wall with our, warehouse fan going in. So what we're doing is we're just adding support with some more scrap foam. So what I did is I marked up underneath there. We're gonna cut 2 supports on this, use those big thick nails, and we're gonna have a freestanding brick wall for this Maker Fun Factory.
Our rocket is really taking off, but we need somewhere to launch it from. We're creating a rocket ship table by using an old camp table as a base structure and covering it with a foam tabletop and legs.
Okay, now we have our tabletop here, we have our base color, and then what we did is we took a little bit of the black, mixed it in just to get it in the grooves, just give it some depth. Now we're going back with our yellow. I call it the yellow-orange. And again, it's called dry brushing. And what you want to do is very, very lightly just kind of hit the tops and the edges of the wood. And you can see what a difference that makes just to pop that wood out. Is the power off yet? I guess the power is off. This is going to be an electrical cord. This is the plug. This is going to be awesome. This is going to go on the wall. So here's our cord for our long extension cord. So what it is, it's black insulation tubing that has tape right in the side here that you just kind of peel out. You just kind of push it together and it gives you a full tube. The reason I like using this is because it's very, very flexible, which is awesome. So we're going to need a couple of feet of it. So what I'm going to have Tracy here do is take black duct tape and tape it right together. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our plug, then we're going to drill our hole. We're going to put it in the back. Before we get it painted, what we want to do is we want to take our black spongy hose here. And again, where you get this black spongy hose, a lot of people are going to say, well, where do I get that? Is this at? Actually, this is near your air conditioning and heaters is where you're going to find this hose at. And it's great stuff, again, very flexible. So that's going to be our hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hot knife, we're going to cut our hole, make sure that it fits, and then we're going to give it to our two very talented volunteers to paint this thing, age it. We're going to plug this into the wall. So what we found is we found this old kind of drafting table drawing board that worked out perfect. We found this old light, which I kind of hot glued, and I have some duct tape back here so it won't come off. And then what we did is we took our 2-inch piece of foam, sculpted our wacky wood onto that. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to trace this out, cut that in so it fits right in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pin some drawings where it looks like we're designing and creating the newest, greatest invention for the Maker Fun Factory.
Bruce is going to walk us through how he aged and greased up our gears with paint.
And this, what we did is we did this muddling with a little bit of the teal color, a little bit of black into it, aged it with a squirt bottle, and then we took the teal and Gabby added the white, so just a little bit of highlight, but you can see a big difference that it makes. So we're going to like a level 10 here of detail to a level 1. But again, it'll all work out whatever way you want to do it, it's all going to look awesome. What we have is we got our fins for our rocket, which is pretty cool. So we have all our base colors on here, which is great. But of course we want to go the extra mile and just take the paint color, the base color. I put a little bit black into it just to give it a little bit of life to it. And that's what I'm doing is I'm taking a 1-inch sponge brush right now. And again, I'm just freehanding the whole thing. And I'm going to do that with the green. And again, it's just going that extra mile that gives it that extra pop. Well, what I'm doing right now, we just have this great rocket ship, remember? 5-gallon pickle jar, water bottle, lights, paint bucket, gallon can of paint, a soup can, and a sippy cup. And somehow we took all those objects and we turned it into the coolest rocket ship ever. And we're not even done yet. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the base green, put a little bit of the teal into it, and I'm just adding a little bit of features just to give it a little bit more pop and a little bit more life. See, this is when it starts coming down to the fun part. Now what we're doing is we're going to marry our plug to our receptacle outlet. So we have our great stuff foam that you can get at any hardware store. Please make sure you wear your latex gloves. And the other secret is mix it up or shake it up real good and make sure you hold the can not like this, like that. Okay? Not like this, like that. So we're just going to squirt a little bit of the foam around the edge here. And we're going to place our receptacle. There we go. Then we have our black rubber hose, and look at this. This is going to be a cool receptacle.
Remember that all of our set piece dimensions and detailed information can be found online at group.com/VBS tools. Bruce, how about a crazy shelf to display some fantastically fun factory gizmos and gadgets?
Okay, what we're doing is because we have a longer set, we needed an extra piece, and again, we're using all our scrap foam. So what we did is we cut two 14-inch wide shelves, about 5 feet high on this one. But what I did is I came down because I wanted a little wonky looking. So what I did is I cut off about 4.5, 6 inches on this end. That way we have a little slight angle up on there. And that's what we're doing. And then we're gonna put our bonnet in, do our shelves a little wonky, and we're gonna have a cool looking shelf. We got our insulating foam. Remember, always hold the can upside down. We're gonna do a little line right there of foam. And we're gonna come back. And what I did is I overcut it just a little bit because I wanted a nice little edge overhang on that, but even. Then I have my huge nails here, which is great. And then if you have problems, pushing it in all the way, don't be afraid to use a hammer.
We need some way to get into our Maker Fun Factory, so Bruce has a brilliant idea for some factory doors.
And what I'm doing here is I'm tracing out this wonky, wacky looking door that we're gonna cut out, so it's gonna look like you can go in different departments in the warehouse. We had some extra foam and we started our door, but now I wanna put a door wood frame around it. So what I'm doing is 5-inch slats. Gonna do a nice door frame around it, and it just adds all that more detail.
After cutting the factory door trim with a hot knife, Bruce has a creative way of cutting the corner angles.
But what I'm doing here for my corner angle is, if you notice, I'm overlapping it right here with my hot knife. And watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take it just like a miter and cut right through that, and watch what happens. I got a perfect miter. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You can't have a door without a doorknob, right? And I wish I had a knock-knock joke for you, but unfortunately I don't have one. But what I did is I just traced out a circle here. We're gonna take our hot knife, and once it gets heated up, we're gonna cut out our doorknob and try to keep it as round as possible. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand the edges down so it looks like a doorknob. And that is the beginning of our doorknob.
Bruce is showing us a super easy way to make our gears even cooler.
Hey guys, what we're doing now is we're putting our 2D flat relief gears on top of our wall. And what I don't want to do is keep it very flat. So what we're doing is we're taking our scrap foam and I'm building it up so I have multiple layers. And what we're going to do is we're just going to foam together, use some nails, and we're going to have this very cool relief on the back of our gear.
It's so amazing that just a little separation of the gear from the wall makes the gear really stand out.
Welcome to Maker Fun Factory. We're glad you're here. Yep, that's what we got, a whistle. And he's a comedian. But you know how we built this thing was a lot of fun. What we use here is 2.5 quart plastic paint containers, cardboard cone top on the top, a piece of carpet tube right here, and then we're using some flex tubes. So what we're gonna do, again, we're going the extra mile here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run some fog up in here so it looks like the whistle is actually blowing. So I'm pretty excited about that. So to keep this inside here, we're just gonna take duct tape and wrap it around, and we are gonna have one cool whistle. Now we have this wonky looking bookcase. It looks awesome, guys. Very proud of them. But what we're gonna do is we had some 1/2-inch foam left over, and the thing is we were running out of teal. So what we did is we used our purple, had them paint a sheet of it, and that's gonna be our backer board for our shelf. We're gonna put our stuff in here and it's gonna look awesome. But you know what? When I cut out the insert of the window, I didn't want it to go to waste. So you know what I did? I turned it into this decorative, thank you, Vanna. Turned it into this decorative piece like you would see on a regular door. Just took the hot knife on an angle and a 45, went around all the edges with it, painted it a lime green. We're gonna hot glue it to it. It's gonna be a great addition to our door.
Now Bruce is filling the door window with a piece of cardboard. To take it to the next level, he's using black paint to create a window shade on the cardboard. With just a little white paint, he makes a pull cord. Cool! He's so creative.
Okay, so if you don't want to do your wood grain with the hot knife, you know, what I did is I just kind of sprayed it with water, took that darker brown that we had, and just have fun with it. Just think like wood and just give it some wood grain.
Since we have such a large stage, we're making a second door. What's so cool about this set is it works for any size environment. You can make more or less brick walls or doors depending on your space. You decide what will work best for you.
Okay, what we're gonna do is door number 2 now. And again, this is some scrap foam that we had left over. But what I want you to do is just make it wacky and wonky looking. Doesn't matter what size, what shape, or anything else. It just needs to be wonky looking. Look at this, we just cut out our window to the door, but you know what? We're not letting anything go to waste. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use it as my decorative piece on the bottom. So I'm just gonna take my hot knife here, and I'm gonna use it on a 45. You see how I'm getting that nice beveled edge? I'm gonna come down this side, a nice 45-degree angle. Doesn't have to be straight, it can be crooked, just have fun with it. All right, now's the time to get our whistle connected to our backdrop. What we have here is we have a dryer vent hose duct taped all the way around. We have a Y unit, a PVC Y unit. Because what we're gonna do, and again, we're going the extra mile here, we're gonna have the fog machine going in here. We're gonna put a little fan inside here to really push that fog up through our whistle so it really looks like that whistle is blowing. So again, I have foam around here to seal the joints, duct tape, and then we have the shelf back here that holds our box fan. And then again, this is where our little fan's gonna go, and this is where our fog machine is gonna go. And basically what we're gonna do is we are gonna duct tape this around and attach it to the inside. Man, we made a cool bookshelf, but you know what it's time for? It's time for wood grain. We gotta bring this thing to life. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this color, put a little bit of purple into it, made it a little bit darker. We got our squirt bottle sponge brush. Hang on to your hats because we're about to give this some wood grain. You know, we got this great camping table for our launch pad, which is looking awesome. We sculpted our base, which looks great, but you know, look how thin those legs are. We just happen to have, again, some scrap foam around, and look what we're gonna do with it. We're going to give it some wooden legs, and look at the difference that does to this table.
To add some finishing touches to our drawing board, we're going to add some cool posters you can buy from the Giant Decorating Poster Pack, which you can get at group.com/VBS. Okay, we're ready to start building our Maker Fun Factory. We're setting up our Maker Fun Factory fabric wall hanging, which is available from group.com/VBS. This is an easy way to instantly add color and depth to your set. There are multiple ways to hang this. You can attach it to a wall, build a wood structure out of 2x4s to hang it from, or your church may even have pipe and drape like ours did. We also laid down black plastic on the floor in the Maker Fun Factory so the carpet didn't distract from all the fun colors on our set. Now it's time to hang our colorful Maker Fun Factory logo display. It's 3D and the gears actually move. How cool is that? You can also download and print out a flat logo and make it as big or as small as you need to fill your space. Just glue it to some foam, cut it out, and display. Easy! Both logos are available at group.com/VBS. Now it's time to add some finishing touches to bring our set to life. You can add fun, whimsical items to your bookshelf and set. Anything colorful and random will add interest to any small corners. You can add can lights to different parts of the set to make items pop. And don't forget to add the colorful Bible Memory Buddies, which you can find in the Giant Bible Memory Buddy poster pack. You can also find some colorful paint splats and decorative posters in the Giant Decorating Poster Pack that you can scatter around the factory. To take your set to the next level, you can add a fog machine to create fog for the base of your rocket and steam for your steam whistle. How about a sound effect for that whistle? You can download it from group.com/VBS tools. We added a small stage light with a colored gel to give our factory fan a backlight. And the last finishing touch to our rocket ship table is a real laptop computer with a fun screen to make it look like rocket mission control. Someone creative at your church can make one or help you find your own mission control screen online. Perfect.
Woo! Great job, everybody. Excellent job. Excellent job. Well, I'll tell you what. We just got done creating the Maker Fun Factory, and it looks absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what, a little bit of foam, hot knife, and some paint, and a little bit of duct tape, man, I'll tell you what, goes a long way. Adding the lighting, the fog machines, and just a little doodads and whatnots that really makes your set come to life. I'm just so proud of you guys, so great, great job. I'll see you next time on Decorating Places. All right!
Thanks for joining us for Decorating Places Maker Fun Factory. We know this set is going to create a memorable environment for your kids to discover that they were created by God and built for a purpose. To get ideas from other churches that are doing Maker Fun Factory VBS, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/groupvbs or pinterest.com/groupvbs or on forums at group.com/forums.